There was a time during World War II when fruit wasn't just a treat. It was a rare advantage. Sugar was rationed, imports were cut off, and fresh produce became unreliable, especially in colder regions. Yet some families still had access to something naturally sweet, incredibly resilient, and almost impossible to kill off, even in harsh winters. It wasn't grown in greenhouses, it didn't need chemical sprays, and it came back year after year with very little effort. That fruit was the humble black currant. What makes this story worth paying attention to is not just that black currants survived. It's how they thrived under pressure while other crops failed. And once you understand why, you start to see how overlooked this kind of resilience is in modern food systems. This fruit succeeded because it was built for harsh climates. Black currants became a quiet staple in many parts of Europe during World War II because they could handle conditions that would destroy more delicate fruit crops. Frost, poor soil, and limited care didn't stop them from producing. Unlike grapes or softer berries that require careful maintenance and protection, blackcurrant bushes are naturally hardy. They can survive freezing winters and still come back strong in the growing season. That reliability made them ideal for families who couldn't afford to gamble on fragile crops. If you want to apply this today, look at your environment first. Instead of forcing crops that struggle in your climate, choose ones that naturally fit it. Blackcurrants are a perfect example of working with conditions instead of fighting them. Plant them once, and with minimal pruning and care, they can produce for years. They provided natural sweetness when sugar was scarce. During the war, sugar was heavily rationed. For many households, sweet foods became a luxury. Blackcurrants helped fill that gap. While they have a tart edge when raw, once cooked or preserved, they develop a deep, rich sweetness that made them perfect for jams, syrups, and desserts. This wasn't just about taste, it was about morale. Having access to something naturally sweet, especially during difficult times, made a real difference. You can use this same principle by growing fruits that can double as natural sweeteners. Blackcurrants can be boiled down into syrup or jam with minimal added sugar. Even in a low-resource situation, you can create something both nutritious and enjoyable. This crop required little to no chemical protection. One of the reasons blackcurrants were so valuable during World War II is that they didn't require chemical sprays or intensive pest control. At a time when resources were limited, this made them far more practical than crops that needed constant protection. Their natural resistance to many pests and diseases meant that even inexperienced growers could produce a reliable harvest. This reduced the risk of total crop failure, which was critical when every bit of food mattered. For modern application, this is a major advantage. Growing crops that don't depend on external inputs makes your system more resilient. Start by selecting plants known for their hardiness and disease resistance. The less you rely on outside resources, the more stable your food supply becomes. They could be preserved easily for long-term use. Another key strength of blackcurrants was how well they stored. Fresh berries have a limited shelf life, but during the war, people quickly learned to preserve them through simple methods like drying, bottling, or making jams. Once preserved, they could last for months, providing a steady source of vitamins and flavor long after the growing season ended. This extended their value far beyond harvest time. You can replicate this by learning basic preservation techniques. Boil blackcurrants into jam dry them for later use, or freeze them if you have the option. Even without modern equipment, simple methods can significantly extend how long your food lasts. They delivered essential nutrients when diets were limited. Wartime diets were often lacking in key nutrients, especially vitamins. Black currants played a critical role in filling that gap. They are particularly rich in vitamin C, which helps support the immune system and prevent deficiencies. At a time when access to fresh fruits and vegetables was unpredictable, having a reliable source of vitamins was just as important as having enough calories. Today, this is still relevant. Growing nutrient-dense foods ensures that you're not just eating to survive, but to stay healthy and functional. Black currants offer a combination of flavor and nutrition that's hard to match with more fragile crops. This knowledge faded because convenience took over. After the war, food systems shifted toward convenience and mass production. Supermarkets made it easy to access a wide variety of fruits year-round, and people moved away from growing their own. Black currants, despite their advantages, became less common in everyday gardens. They weren't flashy, and they didn't fit into the modern preference for convenience over resilience. But the reasons they were valuable haven't changed. They still grow with minimal effort, still survive harsh conditions, and still provide reliable nutrition. This forgotten fruit still offers a practical advantage today. If you're thinking in terms of long-term resilience, black currants are one of the easiest crops to integrate into your system. They don't require large spaces, they don't need constant attention, and they continue producing year after year. Start with 1 or 2 bushes. Plant them in a location with reasonable sunlight and well-drained soil. Water them occasionally, prune them once a year, and let them do the rest. Within a short time, you'll have a consistent source of fruit that doesn't depend on complex systems. This isn't about going backward. The real lesson is about choosing resilience over convenience. Black currants are just one example of a broader principle that WWII made clear. The most valuable foods are not the ones that look the best or taste the sweetest in perfect conditions. They're the ones that keep producing when conditions are far from ideal. That's what kept people going then, and it's what will matter if systems are tested again. If you want more real, practical survival knowledge drawn from history, methods that worked when it mattered most, subscribe to Endgame Survival. Share this with someone who understands that the strongest advantage is knowing what actually works when everything else doesn't.